How's it going, everyone? Jesus here, aka Tyrant Dominus, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. Honestly, Anchor is a very enjoyable platform to be on, listen on, and just a joy to be a part of this community. Anchor, come check us out. And welcome back to Reactioncast. Here again with my brother Michael.
Hi.
And today we have a special guest to do a mid-season discussion about WandaVision. We have Josh from GingerFlix.
What's up? Thanks for having me on board, man.
No, I'm happy to have you. If you don't know Josh, that means you have not been listening to us on the Convoluted Podcast, and you're missing out on some great content over at GingerFlix. Let them know a little bit about GingerFlix before we get started.
So GingerFlix, it's been around for a year now. It's with my fellow Ginger Joey and myself. We pretty much just review movies. We last year was kind of the worst year to start that kind of a podcast, considering nothing that much new came out. So yeah, we decided, we've reviewed some like old classics, some great movies, some truly terrible movies, one of which is Capone, just letting you all know in case you haven't watched it, or Artemis Fowl. Get your lives together and watch it because it's just awful.
It's a masterpiece. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Yeah, 100%. I'm waiting for other podcasts like How Did This Get Made or something to review that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We're still getting our foot in the door, kind of finding new ways to improve our show. And yeah, it's kept us sane throughout this whole pandemic. And yeah, that's about the gist of it.
Okay. So
And do you have any job openings? I'm trying to move to a better place right now.
all right,
if that was a job, I would need to find a new one.
Yeah, if it was a job, I would have somehow running 3 podcasts would actually be paying me.
Oh my gosh, I wish reviewing movies, at least for us, was a job. I'll tell you, that wouldn't be work at all. That'd just be fun.
True. All right, let's get into WandaVision. So for anyone listening, you can go back to kind of our first impressions to hear what me and Michael thought about the first 3 episodes of this thing. So I kind of want to hear your thoughts of the initial episodes.
I want to hear about the first 2. What do you think of the first 2 episodes?
So my brother has a high opinion of the first 2 episodes. What were they called? They were filmed before a live studio audience and Don't Touch That Dial. What did you think of the first 2 episodes, Josh?
Okay, let me say this. Up until the recent episode, I'm probably in the minority of WandaVision because nothing blew me away at all. I totally get the concepts. The things I appreciated, like the reveals. I liked the aesthetic of the 1950s and the 1960s. The homage to Dick Van Dyke and what would it be? Bewitched, the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
Totally appreciated that. I loved that they were kind of going for that. It's something very different. It's almost like that Black Mirror esque kind of vibe, or even Twilight Zone. And because something is wrong, there's something, this is weird. So I did enjoy the first 2 episodes. That being said, I thought they were crazy slow. I know that the humor is meant to be cringe. Like, I know that's what it's not meant to be that funny because it's all very obscure. So I don't know. I'm on the fence because I didn't love it. I haven't loved any of the episodes up until maybe the recent one. So I did enjoy them, but I don't know. I think that's where I leave it at for me.
I'm with you. Like the beginning was slow. It didn't have story. It didn't really have like any showing you what was happening.
No, exactly. It kind of reminded me, like, you know, I haven't watched that many shows, let's say, on HBO. But, you know, I did watch The Sopranos. In fact, I watched True Blood when it was on. I'm watching Westworld, stuff like that. But I find that sometimes these shows rely on a big reveal at the beginning and a big reveal in the end. And in the middle, it's only like tiny little Easter eggs or tiny little plot points, character points, but not much else. And I felt like even though the first 2 episodes were 20 to 25 minutes, not much actually happened. And the gimmick didn't blow me away. So that's kind of how I felt with those first 2 episodes. It wasn't until the beekeeper came in at the end and then she rewound it. I was like, oh, that's cool. So you knew that, like, right there, you knew Wanda had something to do with what's going on. Like, you knew that. And then it's like, I guess I'm curious. I feel like this series would have been better at like Netflix, where Netflix releases everything all at once. Because up until like this episode, nothing really hooked me where I'm like, okay, you know, like nothing, like I said, nothing blew me away yet. And I want to know, are you going to touch base? What was that whole deal with the boss choking? Are they going to touch on that? Like, what was the point of that? You know, was it just choking because, it's just, I didn't get it. That's all. I just didn't get it. And then because it was that kind of serious moment, I don't know. I was so confused by that. And then the second episode, like Vision losing control because he ate gum, like, would that actually happen? Or was that just because of the sixth? Like, I didn't get it. I get that they were paying, homage to these old style sitcoms, this slapstick comedy, but I didn't get what they were going with some of these moments. That's all.
Okay. No, yeah, that's kind of, yeah, you and my brother have a similar way of thinking.
Admittedly, too, I feel like this is just me projecting. This is not for sure. This is me projecting. But with the first 2 episodes, hell, actually up until the 4th episode, if you didn't love this show, like, there's something wrong with you. That's the way I feel, because every single person I know that's posting loves this show. Thinks it's incredible. Like, oh my God, it's going for things never been done before on TV. I'm like, no, it's been done before. Like,
they're literally copying generations of shows.
Yeah, I'm like, have you watched The Twilight Zone? Have you watched The Outer Limits, Black Mirror, and then these comedies? Like, I feel like it's only because it's set within the MCU. Like, if this was a completely other show, no one would care.
Oh no, definitely not.
Know, it might not even make it past this recent episode because people will be like, what is the point of it? But it's because it has the backing of 12 years of the MCU. So you're like, all right.
True.
So you have to love it, at least that's the way I'm like I said, I'm projecting probably, but that's the way it's been. Like, every person I see online, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, doesn't matter. YouTube, there's very few that I've found, those type of reviewers, movie personnel or whatever, that are not in love with this show. And that stemmed right from the first 2 episodes. I was like, the first 2 episodes were good, but they weren't like mind-bogglingly amazing, at least in my opinion. So,
no, again, I get you. Like, the first 2 episodes, they could have put that in one episode and like, okay, this is the intro. And then, like, the other 2, that could have been the second episode where they start to reveal everything. And then, like, this current episode, that would have been, like, an amazing, like, 3rd episode where it's like, okay, now we're getting into it, like, half and half of a Wanda's show, and then also, like, what's actually happening. It would have been, like,
I agree 100%. After the last episode, the fourth episode, where it's, they finally kind of filmed it, I guess, sort of in real time or whatever, like an actual, whatever you want to call it, non-sitcom format, but they make it so meta where they're watching the sitcom, right?
Mhm.
I was so worried because we still knew that there were at least 2 more sitcom episodes coming, because there was, this kind of 80s feel, and then they're doing like a Roseanne kind of feel.
Oh yeah, that's
Rose,
it was like Roseanne. That's what we agreed, that the episode 5 felt like. It's like that Roseanne feeling thing.
But I feel like I think there's still one more, at least one more sitcom style show. But my concern was, because I knew that, and I was like, okay, episode 4, we delved finally into the real world. I don't want to go back to the sitcom. I was like, come on, like, you finally gave us something cinematic. Let's continue with that. And then, of course, I knew they were coming back, but I was pleasantly surprised that, like you said, Michael, that it was a back and forth between the sitcom and the real world. I like that. And I feel like that's how the show should have been done in the first place. Like, they should have been giving us glimpses from the get-go. It was obviously at the end of the first episode, you saw it ends up being Darcy that's watching the show or whatever, or, well, we just see the hand, but you assume it's Darcy. But it should have been more of that, so that way you keep engaged. I don't know. I also didn't like that episode 4 was already a retelling of the first 3 episodes through Monica Rambeau's eyes. I thought that was too soon. Like, we've waited so long. Finally, they've given us something, with her being thrown out of the bubble. Finally, we've gotten something substantial, like moving forward plot-wise. And then they go back. And they, I thought the last episode, the beginning was awesome, right? With the blipping or whatever it is, like everyone coming back.
Oh, yeah. When they actually showed what happened when people came back from the snap.
Yeah.
That was the best reveal so far of the series for me. I was like, oh, sick. That's great. Then at the very end, and then at the very end, you see her being thrown out by Wanda, and they really paint the picture that Wanda is going to be the villain of the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should have jumped, in my opinion, from where they were at the beginning, show that, her coming back from the snap, and then they cut right to her being thrown out. Like, after the credits, it should have been her being thrown out of the bubble, and then we get the episode we got yesterday. The 4th episode for me, like, very cool, but I was like, man, you're just doing the whole, like, Heroes did this, but they did it midway through the first season. So there was a bunch of episodes. It was like, I felt it was too soon to do the whole, okay, let's go back and watch it from her perspective or from other people's perspective, Like, the episode we got yesterday should have been episode 4.
Yeah. No, I think you just made me think of it, where this just feels like a lot of filler. Like those filler episodes. That's what now I just thought about. It's just like empty like space and story that like is not required to understand what is actually happening.
100%.
Like these lives.
I agree with you.
Well, you gotta remember that WandaVision is a prologue to the next Doctor Strange movie.
Well, it's gonna be like a prelude, sort of, to Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of, we can get into fan theories right after kind of we finish talking about all 5 episodes.
Actually, talk about episode 5.
Yeah, once we get into episode 5. Yeah, because for now, I think you both have a reasonable agree on each other's. I personally did enjoy the first 2 episodes. I agreed with the point that the episodes could have been combined, but they kind of needed to split it because they were doing it the way shows were kind of like slotted back in the day, because they were like 20-minute episodes back in the 50s, 60s, 70s.
It was it's very gimmicky because I get it. It was meant to be a sitcom. Like they were doing that Dick Van Dyke sitcom. They were doing that Bewitched, and then Brady Bunch. Like, it was all very sitcom-esque. And first of all, why the hell is it a sitcom? Like, why? Why is there a live audience? Like, I want to know that. Why is she making it in front of a live audience or whatever the hell?
Wanda likes TV, okay?
Yeah, that's one of the things that they haven't like really answered officially, because everyone's just speculating that it's just her, what they used to watch when they were in Sokovia and things like that growing up.
I think because in like those sitcoms and stuff, it's like the like perfect family kind of thing.
Yes.
Where it's always that, and that's what she
true.
wants. It's like, hey, yeah, fucking her with Vision and kids having just a nice life, and that's what most sitcoms
were back. Yeah, that makes
having a nice
sense.
family life.
Yeah, and there was like only some little
like
craziness
little
and stuff like that, but nothing too serious, because it would always end nicely and tied with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know what's funny though? Did you guys ever watch Young Justice?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. What she's doing is sort of mimicking what McGann did in Young Justice.
Oh yeah.
Nobody
okay.
say, but nobody, because she is her whole persona, right, in Young Justice is based off of a character she watched on an old sitcom.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, why is nobody can say it because it's DC. DC doesn't come up with anything good apparently. And I was like, I'm like, yo, DC has destroyed everyone when it comes to the animated movies and the animated shows. Destroyed. Like no one else touches them. You know, and no one else.
That is true.
You know, no one else being Marvel. Like that's really, you know, when it comes to comic book movies and TV shows and all that. But I was like, that's a sick idea. And like McGann, also they have similar powers. You know, McGann, her main power in, mind you, she has a plethora of them, but what's her telekinesis in the Young Justice show? And Wanda's main power has been telekinesis. And I was like, okay, so you're similar. Like there's a lot of similarities there. And I was like, why? No one else is noticing this? Why am I the only person here?
Actually, yeah, no, I didn't even notice until you brought it up. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities there. Actually, that makes amazing sense right now.
So yeah.
But it's more how McGann behaved a certain way, whereas Scarlet Witch or Wanda is creating the whole world to exemplify those those shows. So it's different, but still there's a little similarities there.
That's true.
So talking to episode 5,
because now let's get into this, because talking about like Wanda's power, because like you mentioned, like it's always just been like telekinesis, kind of mind control, things like that, but now they're fully showcasing what Wanda is possible of, because everyone's always known that Scarlet Witch is one of the most powerful mutants in the Marvel universe, but she's always been showcased as far as the MCU as just a very powerful psychic. But now they're officially like saying like, yeah, she can bend reality.
Yeah. And
it's something that a lot of people have finally like said, yes, finally.
This is what she is.
And
but so my question is, because I don't read a lot of Marvel comics. I've read, the occasional one here and there, a couple Avengers runs or whatever. But so yeah, she's this all-powerful, like reality warping sort of being, right?
Yes.
But she has to have doesn't she have some sort of limitation? Is her mind broken sometimes? Like, is she unstable? Like, I don't know much about the character.
Depending on what iteration, the one I feel they're using for the MCU is more the grief-stricken one, which makes sense because of what happened to Vision.
Yeah,
it's very and her brother.
And her brother. Like, for the most part, her life. Because here's an interesting thing. Talking about her past, all the commercials have been a very good indication of her trauma in her life from the first. From the first one being the ticking bomb, the second one when they were getting experimented on
was Hydra, or Strucker.
No, Strucker. Yeah, no. The second one was Strucker, and then the third one was Hydra.
Hydra, yeah. And then fourth episode was the soap one. That soap one, a lot of people didn't know, if you guys didn't watch Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was one where it was a version of the world where Hydra did get took over the world, and Hydra was putting chemicals in people's soap to mind control them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Okay, what about this episode? Because I was like, when that commercial came up.
For Logo?
Yeah.
For Logo, that one,
Lagos?
Lagos, my bad. Lagos. They actually mentioned it in the episode. If you paid attention, it was the Lagos was the city.
Civil War.
Yeah, the city.
Oh, okay.
And it was representative of like all the people she killed. The red grapefruit juice being wiped up the blood and stuff like that. Things like that.
You know,
that makes a lot more sense.
You know what kills me for that? Because again, Civil War and Winter Soldier are like they're my top 3 Marvel movies. Like, love those movies. I think they're fantastic. But they're blaming Wanda, right, for that explosion. The dude detonated a bomb. You know, I never understood why she's blamed for this. Like, she tried to throw him away and it did cause damage, but he was also in the middle of a crowd of other people. Like, no matter what, someone was gonna die. Like, I don't understand why.
What is it like?
Well, that was Hydra's fault.
Yeah,
because they use that to like
no, but they pinned
the
it on
war effect.
But they pinned it on her, like it's her fault. And I'm like, it's not. Like, no matter what, just like the whole, you know, they were gonna send. Like, that's the thing. There are plot holes always in Marvel, but nobody cares because it's Marvel. You know, like Civil War, like I said, is in my top 3 movies, but they blame the Avengers for New York. I'm like, you were going to send a nuke. You were going to cause way more damage. Why
So I think the reason for that, like the nuke and why Wanda's being blamed, is from our eyes, like as legit a fucking omniscient overview of it, we see everything's happening, both sides of the thing, but in that universe, they see whatever the news is telling them, that information.
Yeah, because now
for Wanda, that was, they legit manipulated to say like, hey, no, that was her fault. And then the nuke thing, it was S.H.I.E.L.D., a secret organization. They're not going to go to news like, oh yeah, we were going to send a nuke. No, that shit probably never got out.
But that's one of those things now that you're getting into like in-world stuff. Like there's governments, news stuff, things that are manipulated. Like they hint in the show, things like that. Like in Iron Man 3 when they're messing with the Mandalorian, with the Mandarin.
The Mandarin.
Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah.
The Mandarin.
That bullshit.
Like, yeah, but it's showcasing that the world is not perfect. That the world is not perfect. That the government still runs stuff and it can be manipulated. And it's some of those things. And
totally,
it's like,
like I totally get that, but it's like I don't understand why she internalizes it. Like, yeah, it sucks that all those people died. And that's, you know, tragic on her end. But regardless, there was going to be more casualties, including her friend.
True.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, I don't know.
So back in episode 5, in the beginning, like I loved how they like Lily went in, like straight up went into it, said like, oh yeah, no, this is straight up a sitcom. She's controlling them or she's doing all that. And what was the name? The neighbor.
Agnes,
and she came in like help with the babies, and then she just like Vision didn't go with like the script, I guess, and she just straight up went to Wanda like, do you want me to redo this? Like what's happening? And I love that so much. Like Agnes seems like the one that's like maybe not fully under control, just kind of like going with it because she's probably very scared.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, You know what? I just figured it. I'm so dumb now. See, now I feel dumb because I'm tired. I've had a long week. I'm dumb. So when she flat out said to her, like, do you want me to do that again? So it's like, okay, so the people are fully aware, right, that of what's going on, or they at least have some sort of idea. So that calls back. Sorry, I'm just thinking, because again, this is my own theory, I guess, that in the very first episode when Mr. Hart, when he's choking, and she's saying, stop it, right? You know, chick Deborah Jo Rupp or whatever, right? That 70s show lady.
Yeah.
You're like, why is she just keep saying that? I'm like, so is she thinking that if he's fooling around and then Wanda's going to hurt them?
Yeah.
So okay, so
Like, was that it?
So those weird moments you've been saying that you mentioned, like, are like the weird Twilight Zone, Outer Limit moments. It's one of those moments when one is just losing control of the situation, and
The simulation.
and yeah, losing.
And that's why they kind of regain more of the consciousness.
Yeah, that's why when Agnes and the neighbor were talking.
That was happening the whole baby scene.
Yeah, the whole baby scene. It's because Wanda was distracted and she wasn't focusing on the people. So that was like the one
simulation.
point.
Let's just call it the simulation.
Yeah, the simulation. That was the chance for the people to kind of get a glimpse of their themselves back. And so Agnes seems like to be the one and only person out there that has the ability to kind of break out of it for more than a little bit of time, because everyone seems to kind of be in a hold.
As we saw with what was it, Verdesh?
Norm.
What was the name?
Norm? Oh wow, I'm really racist. Norm.
His name was the name of the.
It was Norm.
Norm.
Yeah, it was Norm. I was fucking I was hella racist. I was like straight over there.
It was Norm from Cheers.
But
what was I saying?
Vision, he brought that guy. He brought that guy out or whatever.
Yeah. Now here's the thing about Vision. The Vision thing is getting me really.
Is he under control? So that's what I want to know, because he was able to fight it. It was like in the middle of the episode, or like towards the end, where he was like, "You can't control me," and then she like tried to end the episode, and then he was just like, "No, we're going to talk about this."
So here's what I'm thinking about Vision. Vision's been a situation in my head that I've been thinking, like he's in the beginning he was probably being like manipulated, but now that he's slow, like days after days, he's starting to get a sense of the world and everything. And because she can basically bend reality, I think since one, he is a robot or cyborg. What is he?
He's a robot. He's an AI.
He's an AI. He's processing everything to finally understand, like, something's not right. He's like, it's finally clicking more and more. He's just processing everything, because originally he was just going along for the ride, but as more of these things are,
because he probably enjoyed that life too.
Yeah, because he mentioned in episode 5 that he doesn't remember anything that happened. So think of it like if he got rebooted, basically.
Yeah.
So, and now he's just basically trying to boot up again, and little by little not remembering, but starting to get, because even when he was created back in Age of Ultron,
Mm-hmm.
he still had a basic understanding.
You were born yesterday. Yes.
He had a basic understanding of life, but just a general, like, so he knows something's like, something's wrong. So
my this is the whole thing. Okay, so again, like, I don't read Marvel comics, and this is very different than the comics, but he's an important character, right? Like, Vision he's like he's been an Avenger for like a long time or whatever, and what they're doing with him is really cool. And what's it called? Jimmy Woo, he says that she's like, how did she bring him back without the Mind Stone? And that's my concern, is that is she just manipulating everything he's doing, even subconsciously, like letting him when he's saying you can't control me? Is it really just her letting him think he's real or whatever? Or has she actually brought him back?
Well, I think he is back, because he would technically he was.
So that's something that you just brought up that made me think, is I was like, how is he back? How does he have a conscience? Because I was thinking him as a person, like, he died. How does he still have like a mind? But then, like, wait, no, he's an AI. He just meant Thanos just ripped the Mind Stone off, which basically was the battery.
Yeah, it's battery.
And that's all it is. He still has the AI and the programming in him, which was his mind. So
but does he though? But like, that's does he though?
Because remember that during Infinity War, they were removing the thing. So there was a small portion of his programming that was being removed. Maybe it's not complete. It's like corrupted data. Corrupted data. That's the best way to explain it. It wasn't fully transferred.
So the thing is, though, I don't know. They never really said that the Mind Stone is his like battery. The Mind Stone is sort of what kind of has created not like his it's kind of created him from going from an artificial intelligence to sort of being like a real being, right? Because they never like, yeah, he's a robot, but they never treated him like a cyborg or a robot or whatever. He's just the Vision, right? They never comment on the fact that, you know, was born from Jarvis after, you know, besides Age of Ultron when they actually create him. So it's like what they kind of alluded to, at least in my opinion, in Infinity War, is that without the Mind Stone, the persona even of Vision might not exist. Because they didn't know how to remove it without destroying Vision, period. That's what they were trying to figure out. They were trying to figure that out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they were trying to.
Because like Jarvis was the artificial intelligence, right? But the Mind Stone is kind of what gave him an actual like personality or an actual like, you know, it gave him that human, almost that human element. So you remove that, and is like, are you just left with Jarvis again, or like that? I guess that's what we still need to find out.
So actually, they did bring it up a little bit there. I'm going to butcher the quote, but they did say because Vision is basically like a part of Jarvis, a part of Tony, a part of Bruce, and a part of Ultron. And
well,
it's just
Vision is not Jarvis.
Yes. No, didn't he have a piece of Jarvis's AI?
Yeah, no, he's a piece of Jarvis, and then like also Tony and Bruce's
and Ultron,
and then Ultron. Because that was like the whole thing where it's like you still have a part of Ultron in you, and that's why was it not Tony? Who was against it when he was
Thor.
But Thor brought him to life because he saw it in the Vision. It was
right.
Who was against it? Who was like, hey, we need to stop this? Was it Tony? No, Tony was there.
It was like Captain America was kind of against it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
Captain America side.
But yeah, he was like, his programming for the most part was everything, including the Mind Stone. But with incorporating the data they got from what the Mind Stone, they were just gonna copy most of it over to Vision, so Vision wouldn't have to need the Mind Stone. So I think, not kind of delving into a comic book logic, but it is. I think he would have been fine without the Mind Stone. There's just we never got to see it.
I think he's right.
But you see that his body is dead, right? Like,
yeah. You saw his head fucking ripped open.
Yeah, he's like broken. It's very weird because you get these weird moments where like she's kind of like probably slept with him, and it's kind of weird.
And then, that's one thing I never understood either, is because, they finally, I feel like they confirmed it in this episode, because when we see that shot of him as the dead Vision, I was like, okay, is that her just seeing things? Is Vision even really there? Or has she been creating this? But then you find out that, yeah, she stole his body, and so she has been manipulating his body. I mean, again, we still don't really know if he is functioning officially on his own, or if it is her, or maybe.
Well, we're starting to see her
powering him. Like that could be another thing.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, because we're starting to see now with her kids that she's basically creating life at this point, which is fucking like crazy. I think that is the point where we're getting to see where she might be able to, quote, bring people back to life. Whether we'll see it in the finale of this thing, or we're going to be transitioning into the movies. But yeah, it's one of those questions like, is Vision going to be truly back? Because for sure, I think he's going to be a staple for at least for Phase 4. Are we in Phase 4?
But we don't know. There's been no mention of Vision or Paul Bettany in any of the upcoming movies.
Oh, interesting. I thought he was still contracted for a couple more movies.
They might just be hidden, as like a surprise.
True.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things like if you dive into like that stuff, it kind of ruins the surprise of a couple things. Like you mentioned earlier with the surprise of episode 5. We'll talk about that in a moment. That one's another another big one.
Okay, there's one scene I want to talk about because I just found it hilarious, and I just love that this dumbass thought he can actually do something. The quote unquote like asshole of the show.
The director?
Yeah, the director, and how he just got his ass almost handed to him. Again, Wanda left the simulation, and I thought it was just badass. Where she's like, "Is this yours?"
Yeah.
Just chucks a drone at them. She's like, "Fuck off! I'm trying to have my happy life."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. That's another thing. Like, because that guy, we see him in episode 4, and I kind of hate when they completely, I guess, vilify somebody because he didn't seem like that. He seemed a little bit like a dick, but then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, he puts he adds weapons in there, and I'm like, why? Why would you? Also, are you that dumb that you're gonna do that to her? Like if something goes wrong,
she took over a town. Holy shit! Why
like
you
exactly what you're gonna shoot a missile at her? It's like, and not even like a surprise attack. You're gonna put it in where someone's already talking to her from it, so she's looking right at the thing. That was so dumb. I was like, come on.
I thought it was hilarious. And she just took control of like all the soldiers and just had them point at him.
F you and like, hey, yeah, you can't do shit to me. It is true. The creating this very like quote simple villain is it could have been I don't know what they would have, because right now technically the villain of the show is Wanda at this moment. And then we have this like very lame quote villain that we kind of have to like be rooting against. But
he's a foil. He's not really like a villain per se. You can either categorize him as like a secondary villain or just a foil. Kind of how like Flash Thompson is a foil to Peter Parker in his movie. Okay,
here's my question for at least for this character right now, as far as we see him as far as the midseason. Would you want him to continue being the acting director of SWORD moving forward?
No.
He's not going to. I personally predict he's going to die, and they're going to catch that on film or something, and it's going to be another thing that paints Wanda as a villain.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I hope so. That's kind of what I'm hoping for too, and then that for Monica to take up the mantle.
I'm a little nervous. I feel like at the end it'll actually be a fight between Wanda and Vision. That's going to be.
That'd be amazing. That'd be interesting.
That's gonna be the ending, and we've already seen that Wanda. I mean, also, I never liked this in Civil War. Again, like even though it's one of my favorites, I'd never liked the fact that she can control him through the Mind Stone. I thought that was so. I'm like, come on, man! Like, really? You can control the Mind Stone because you were created from it? I don't know.
What scenes are you talking about?
No, okay.
In Civil War, remember in Civil War, Hawkeye is breaking Scarlet Witch out, even though she probably could have broken out on her own. But he breaks her out, and because he distracts Vision. Vision comes in, and he grabs Hawkeye and is like got him in like a chokehold or whatever, and Vision's like, "You can't stop me," and Hawkeye says, I can't, but she can. And right there, you see her, she controls the Mind Stone. You see her red energy over the Mind Stone, and she weighs Vision down, like, all the way to wherever. And that's it. So, like, that she already could sort of manipulate him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe,
and I never really, or at least manipulate the stone. Not necessarily him, but him being connected to the stone. That's going to be... So I never really liked that. I was like, if she can do that, like, what's he ever gonna do against her?
True.
She could just be like, no, bye, see ya.
Okay.
Yeet.
All right, then let's get to the big one, the big finale reveal for the mid-season. And I can't remember the actor's name. I can't remember the actor's name at the moment.
Evan Peters.
When they revealed Evan Peters' Quicksilver from the Fox universe.
Oh, I freaked out. You saw me freak out. I freaked out. I love that because I love that Quicksilver.
He had two of the standout moments in the second and third movie, right? Like Days of Future Past. That scene is
It's an
Still
iconic
amazing.
scene now. It's an iconic scene now.
I think they just parodied it on Family Guy too.
Oh, they did. They got Meg and stuff.
They
I
just
gotta watch
parodied
that.
it.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
No, it is
I love him
iconic.
he's a great actor, and I just love that Quicksilver variation of Quicksilver.
He is. I mean, I watched what's that show? American Horror Story. He's a staple on that show. I stopped watching it, I think like season 4 or 5. I can't remember. I was like, that's getting too much for me now. But he is consistently good because you always see him as kind of this, like as Quicksilver. He's kind of just not like a punk kid, but he's sarcastic, that kind of playful nature. He was even in the original Kick-Ass too. I don't know if you guys ever watched that, but yeah. He was one of his buddies in the original Kick-Ass.
Oh my god, he was.
I gotta rewatch that.
I was like, oh snap. And I remember seeing that. And then years later, they're both Quicksilver. And arguably, Kick-Ass's version of Quicksilver, or Aaron Taylor Johnson, was not good. In my opinion, I was like, he's okay. Looks good. Like, looks great. But no, the Evan Peters version of Quicksilver is awesome. And that's why they had to kill the other one off.
I did not like the MCU's Quicksilver.
No.
Oh, yeah. No. He was all right.
He had one good quote.
But they didn't here's the thing. They didn't give him much at all. They killed him off. They literally killed him off. So they didn't really give him time to develop as an individual.
It was just one movie, right? It was like they brought him in and then
that's it. He was in one movie.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we didn't really give him time to develop as an individual. He was just this one note character who was out for revenge, change side, sacrifice. That was it. That was basically his plot. So there was no real he could have been better.
There was no character development.
Yeah, he could have had better character development, but I don't know where they were at. Maybe they were in talks with Fox at that point, possibly, maybe.
No, it was 2017, I believe. So 2 years after Ultron came out, that Kevin Feige had said they were buying the mutants or Fox properties, and he had like a 5-year plan, and we're coming up to that 5-year plan.
Yes, we're getting there. So
I'm just happy to this. I think this was a good way to kind of introduce the not Marvel, the mutants.
We're getting mutants,
the X-Men into the MCU.
So we're getting basically the reverse House of M kind of storyline, where instead of no mutants,
I've been hearing a lot about that. I want to look into it now because that's what I've been hearing about. I have a link
the House of M where they read the entire House of M storyline. So if you want to just sit for 2 hours and just watch a video of the entire comic of that, it's really good. I watched it.
Yeah, I never watched it myself, but I've heard obviously that her saying no more mutants is kind of like an iconic thing, right?
So here's an interesting thing, actually, because you messaged me a little later when you found out about the surprise quote, because you already kind of knew what was going to happen with the character. You didn't know when he was going to show up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So I had heard that Evan Peters. It came out way back, I think, in the summer that he was going to be in the show, or at least they never said what capacity. But people are speculating, is he going to be Mephisto, or is he going to be some other character or something like that? I'm like, no, you cannot. Out of all the actors in Hollywood, out of all of them, you can't bring Evan Peters, who plays her brother in another universe, another movie universe, into this and not have him play the same character. That would be so dumb.
That would have been rough. I'm not going to lie. That would have. So I have an actual thing. So there's an article I read from the WandaVision boss, Jack Schaefer, I think, if I'm remembering the name correctly. I'm saying that right, Schaefer?
I don't know.
Jack Schaefer. I'm going to just say that. If anyone wants to correct me, go ahead in the comments. But anyway, apparently, where is it right here? During the production of WandaVision, let's see here. I'm trying to find the quote from this thing. Here it is. Schaefer was also told during the interview that she had with Digital Spy that she didn't have free reign to choose which Marvel characters that they would include in WandaVision. So they do, like, these people do have like a chance to like work with specific people, but they're given a list, revealing that she was instead given a list of characters to work with because Marvel has specific ideas and larger interconnecting pieces. So it looks like these people are like each people who are working on individual like things. Like probably the person who's working on Loki was given a list like, hey, like you can't use these people, but you're allowed to use these people in your project.
Yeah, well, I mean that makes sense because I feel like Kevin Feige has such a tight hold on it because the guy knows what the fans want. Like in my opinion, he knows what the fans want. He knows what's gonna make it a good story, and I feel like that's okay. You know, when you have studios that have these, you know, studio heads or whatever that have this firm grasp, sometimes it blows up in your face. I mean, sorry, look at Wonder Woman, right? First one was great, but it's clearly a bit of a mixture of studio interference and all that. Where with WandaVision, at least so far, you know, and hell, the MCU in general, except for, you know, a few duds in my opinion, Kevin Feige knows his stuff. So yeah, if he's telling you these are the characters you can use, they should probably listen. The guy knows, in my opinion. So
he definitely.
Yeah, like you mentioned, there's been a couple movies that haven't been like amazing. I think
they were amazing just compared to like the other MCU ones, where it's this wasn't
Iron Man 3 sucked.
Here's been a lot of I've watched a lot of people like review, like rank a lot of movies. A lot of people have always said like there's very few bad movies, there's a couple okay movies, and then from okay to good. Yeah. Because Iron Man 3 wasn't a bad movie, it was an okay movie. It's like not the greatest.
You know what? Here's the thing. It's like how for me it's not as, I'm going to compare it to like The Last Jedi. Okay? The Last Jedi I despise as a film. Like I
remember The Last Jedi. I can't remember my lore.
I despise it. In my opinion, it's a decent movie, but it's a terrible Star Wars movie. And that's how I look at Iron Man 3. Like Iron Man 3 is an okay movie, but it's not a good Iron Man movie. Like going from the first two, mind you, the second one's not that good either. But the feel of the movie is very different than the other two, and it doesn't work. But like Thor Ragnarok is very different than the other two, and it's the best one. Like by far, it's the best one. So you take your gambles, right, when you do that.
True,
definitely.
So,
I kind of want to know Josh, your opinion on the real world characters. I can't remember the throwaway, not the throwaway, the Thor girl, and then
Darcy Lewis.
Yeah, Darcy Lewis, and then the Ant-Man, Jimmy Woo. Like, what's your opinion on like those characters?
Yeah,
you know what? They're actually, I like Randall Park. I liked him in Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I think he's great. And I'm like, I would love to see more of him because I feel like he has such a good, he could be like the new Coulson almost, you know?
I think that's what they're trying to do. I think that he's going to be, the way that he's kind of working, I think, here's what I'm thinking is Jimmy Woo and Darcy are both going to kind of be, because they're really pushing this dynamic with Monica. So I think these three characters are going to be moving forward because it's already been speculated that Monica is going to become Spectrum in the next couple years.
Is that what her hero name is? Spectrum?
Yeah,
or whatever?
Spectrum. Yeah.
Okay, I have absolutely no idea what you guys are talking about now.
Yeah,
okay, we'll get into theories in a second. But I think that's kind of the dynamic. Because like you mentioned earlier, we'll probably see the end of what's his name, Tyler Hayward, like the demise of his character, probably at the end or maybe in an alternate movie.
Yeah.
And then we'll see Monica take his spot as the official director of S.W.O.R.D. And I think along the lines of that, he'll recruit Jimmy and Darcy to work under her. as part of members of Sword moving forward.
I can see her. Yeah, her telling Darcy, "You're gonna lead like the what's it called? Like the science side of it, and Jimmy Woo, you're gonna be the investigative side of it." I could totally see that. And I think that'd be a solid choice. I like Kat Dennings, but in the Thor movies, I don't know, the whole comic relief, especially in the second one.
A lot of people don't like her character. I'm not gonna lie.
No, she's not my favorite.
No, I feel like she wasn't needed, but I like her better in this far than what she did in the Thor movies. Like, yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think she's given her own little moments to shine here compared to
Jimmy Woo needs an X-Files type show on his own.
That would be funny.
Let's talk about his character development, though. His character development.
Hey, his character development is great because he started learning magic in Ant-Man. And look what he did in episode 3. Did you see that card swipe?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect character development. Those little hints. You gotta love Marvel with those little nods. Like remember those little things. Okay. Right now he's not the focus where there needs to be character development yet.
He's only like that side character. He's the audience basically at this point, right? Everything that's happening that we're learning about, he's learning about. So he doesn't need that much character development yet.
Mm-hmm.
True.
So far, he's just adding a lot of goodness to the show, in my opinion.
No, definitely.
Okay. So is there anything else you guys want to discuss about the first 5 episodes? Because I kind of want to get, because we only have 4 episodes left. We have 1 month's worth of time to finish. So before we kind of go into...
Here's my concern now with the Evan Peters Quicksilver. What power set is he going to have? Is he going to get killed by bullets, or is he going to be able to evacuate a whole mansion full of students and people in under a second?
Oh, they better not nerf him.
That's what I'm saying. So the one thing that bugged me about this episode, and I don't want to say bugged as in, I don't know. It's weird when you talk about certain things like this because you either sound sexist or racist or something, and I am the furthest from that. But they say that she could have taken out Thanos. I mean, mind you, they did kind of show that in Endgame. She was holding him and he couldn't move. But I'm like, how come with her you decide that she's gonna be like all powerful? How come with Captain Marvel she's all powerful? Is it just because they're created from the Mind Stones or the Infinity Stones? And if so, why was Vision so easily beaten in Infinity War? You know what I mean? I don't like that. And I was like, why isn't Thor supposed to be way more powerful than he actually is? Like,
he's supposed to be a god.
They nerfed Thor though.
They've nerfed Hulk.
No, do not get me on. Do not start me on Hulk right now. Do not start. He's my favorite character, and I hate what the fuck they did to him.
But either way, I wouldn't say he's even in my top 5 favorite characters. He's got some great, but this is what I'm saying though. They have nerfed him, but they decide for Wanda and for Captain Marvel, they're gonna make them all powerful, but not everyone else. Like,
so the way you mentioned it, I think Captain Marvel, I felt like that was kind of a gimme for like that movement where it's like, oh yeah, no, it's a strong female character in like the wrong way. But I think with Captain, wow, I just completely blanked on her name.
Wanda,
yeah, wow. Just
we've been talking.
I know. It's like
what's
So it's Simpsons episode. For Wanda, I feel like they were like they planned for this, and like if you did read the comics, which I haven't really, but I kind of knew about like how powerful she was. They just didn't show it enough, and they just didn't develop that enough through the movies, and they just kind of had to give it to her a little bit.
So okay, here's a little thing. Here's a little.
No, I totally get that though. But either way, she got taken out by an arrow in Ultron, right? Like Clint put the arrow on her head, and she got like zoned out for a second.
Okay,
it's like that's totally cool though. Like that's totally cool that she is going to be all powerful, but why are they only deciding for her to be that way and Captain Marvel, but for every other character, like arguably Captain America has also been crazy overpowered, even though he's technically human. He took out some of the biggest people, you know?
True. So here's some of the things that people were noticing early on during the first couple of years of the Marvel universe. They were using the Ultimate Avengers line of comics.
Yes.
Which are more online to quote realistic like worldviews, because
hence
comics,
Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury.
Yeah, so it's more attuned to like what is realistically possible in that world. So that's why they nerfed a lot of things. I think the early Wanda. Here's also a quick note. No one ever calls her the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, they even commented on that, right?
Yeah. No one has said Scarlet Witch. It's always Wanda. Note that.
Okay.
No one has
Wanda and Pietro.
Yeah, they have never said Wanda. They have never said Quicksilver.
You mean
Well, they couldn't in the beginning.
Oh, my bad. They're Scarlet Witch. Yeah, my bad.
We've
We've been talking so long.
They couldn't in the beginning because of licensing.
Licensing, yes. Now here's the thing. So they were using a lot of the Ultimate Avengers line of comics as references to kind of move forward with more realistic tone, which makes sense because that's why they kind of nerfed a lot of characters, which was sad to see. But as far as like Wanda's moveset, I think now that we're moving a little bit further with stories like this, I think they needed to like bump up her powers to what they are, because I understand how they can like argue this is why
power crawl.
It's a power crawl because like she just barely like was using her powers for what they were, like how she was taught to use them by Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's what you can do: you can move stuff with your minds and you can mess with people's minds. That's all she really knew she could do. But now that she was training with the Avengers and things like that and improving, and then kind of like breaking the mental block, kind of the loss of probably Vision broke that little bit of mental block that every person has, like to just like snap, like it's just like you can do more. I think that was the point where like
they kind of show that in this episode where it's like with the kids, they're like, you can do this, Mom, you can bring things back to life, or you can do this. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, no. And like, how long you can do this? And that's another thing I wanted to bring up before this is like when what's the actor's name, the Quicksilver actor,
Evan Peters.
Yeah, Evan Peters. Like when he showed up and she was like, I didn't do that, and like, so does she mean for him to be there, or is that something completely else?
Here's the weird thing. I was thinking that too. I think something happened when she came out and she did something to her bubble.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, she definitely did.
I was I rewatched. When we watched it together. That was the third time I watched it. The second time I watched it, I was pausing. I was pausing to see, is there a face in there? I gotta see if there's a face. I was like nitpicking the whole thing. Like is there Mephisto's face there? Pause. I like pausing everything. No face.
Well, also at the same time, when she did leave, like you saw there was that red energy as she entered and exited, right? It was her like energy or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But what happens when she leaves? Like, is she still controlling it? Like, it's possible maybe other people got out at the same time, which I doubt. But I feel like there's something else. But I guess my also thing was she said she didn't do this. And she says to Vision, you have to believe me that I'm not doing certain things or whatever. But again, is she doing certain things subconsciously, right? Where she's not intentionally doing it, but because her mind is a little fractured or whatever, her unconscious or her subconscious or whatever it is creating, the twins, Vision, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, maybe she's not doing it intentionally, but it could be happening without her really knowing she's doing it, Hello?
Hey, good? Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you guys. I don't know.
That was weird.
What's the last thing you heard from us?
I didn't hear anything. I finished talking, and then I didn't hear anything from you guys. I
just brought back if there was anything else to discuss about the episode or like the last couple episodes.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Did you guys hear my whole thing about the subconscious?
after you finished that, I brought that the anything else to speak, and then like you just said hello. Like, what's happening?
Oh no, yeah, sorry, no, I didn't hear that at all.
Here's a little weird thing: is I can't hear him.
Oh, you can't hear right
I can't hear him.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm not okay. Sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I can hear you now. Jesus, can you hear him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. It was, I don't know, something up with the internet. I don't know.
I don't know. That's the weird thing because
We were good until now.
Yeah, it was weird. Like we were hearing you perfectly fine until like right around now. Because I personally couldn't hear you, but I could hear you through my brother's headphones.
Interesting.
That was weird. Okay, so is there anything else from these past 5 episodes you would like to discuss, or you want to dive into like a little bit of a theory crafting here, to kind of finish up our mid-season discussion?
Sure.
Here.
Let's do some theories.
Okay, so that's what our thought is. I think we all agree that 5 episodes in, it has been a slow start, but it has gotten to a point where it's been excited, and I wish they would have done either a full release or a like a good 4 or 5 episode start, and then
I wish they did the episodes a lot better, because these 5 episodes I feel like would have been a lot better as 3 episodes in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah,
like how Josh said at the start, where it's like if they just release them all like Netflix, and there's been an amazing binge watch.
It would be, but that's not Disney style, you know. They're gonna
they gotta get our money.
They have no new content besides this and The Mandalorian, so they're like, surprise! You gotta wait each week.
Okay, so as our guest, we'll let you kind of me and my brother have been like spitballing
Ideas.
theories are like crazy back and forth.
Yeah.
So we kind of want to let you go first, and kind of maybe we'll probably come up with some new ones with whatever you've been thinking and discussing with any of the people you've been talking with. So what are some things you've been been in your head as far as like the next 4 episodes, or what the future may hold for WandaVision and the rest of the crew?
Okay, so for the rest of just for the show itself, or like the MCU in general, like following like the aftermath of WandaVision.
Let's go with the show for now, because there's only like 4 episodes.
So in my opinion, especially after yesterday's episode, pretty sure Vision's dead. Like he's gonna die in this series. That's probably what's gonna make her really snap and become the villain for the next few movies or whatever. So I think he's done. He's toast. I don't know about the kids though. It seems that the kids are their own beings, right? They can control themselves, like age, de-age, whatever. And apparently, even in that 3rd episode, the Brady Bunch one, they were the ones that were making that stork or whatever appear and the butterflies. It was them actually doing that, or one of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you saw that she couldn't control them, right? There was this stork.
Oh yeah, she couldn't get rid of it.
She couldn't get rid of it. It's because the babies were doing it. Yeah. So, and then you saw with this one as well, she couldn't make the baby stop crying. Mm-hmm. Right. And normally, she could just put him to sleep or whatever. So I feel like they may become a part of some Young Avengers TV show or whatever. Like, I think they're going to be fine at the end, but there's also the possibility that all 3 of the guys in her life die. You know, she could lose them all again. I just feel like if she kills Vision, or Vision dies and those 2 die, it's like, why is everyone around her dying? Like, is that her whole purpose? Is that anyone's purpose that involves Wanda? They just created to die to further her character? I don't know. But
that would suck so bad.
In my opinion, I'm pretty sure Vision is toast after this show, and the sons may become like, you know, future Young Avengers or something. Hell, they may even have to fight her too, because it seems like they could possibly beat her. Possibly, I'm not saying they can, but
okay.
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
I'm on the kind of like
Jimmy and Darcy should hook up.
Okay, well, that's our checklist. Like, Wanda becomes evil, young kids become young Avengers.
Darcy,
Vision dies.
Jimmy
Vision
Darcy
dies.
hook up. Vision dies. Like, wait, what's that fourth one?
Jimmy
Vision
and
dies.
Darcy.
Like, don't read the rest. Okay, so what was it, Michael?
I think I'm on the opposite spectrum a little bit. I think Vision's gonna die. I am with you with that, but I don't think Wanda's gonna be the evil villain. Where I think they're gonna go opposite kind of the House of M, where she like has to deal with her kids not being real and then losing them. Where it's like they're gonna be like the evil villains kind of situation, where she's gonna have to fight them, and she's gonna be on like the good side. Well, probably not the good side, but she's gonna try to like have them not fuck up the world in some way.
Well, I feel like
that's gonna go.
they've already kind of painted her. Like when she tossed Monica out, like they painted her as like just the way they filmed her. You're like, oh damn, she's evil, like for sure.
Okay,
So you know, not maleficent kind of evil where she's, or malicious, I should say, where she's intending to hurt people. It's almost that like Hal Jordan parallax thing where she just wants to bring people back, and it's that kind of like sympathetic villain where she's not trying to hurt people, she's trying to bring people back, but anyone who stops her from doing that, she's going to hurt them.
For selfish gains, basically.
Yeah.
Selfish gains.
So
And selfish not being, power or wealth or anything like that. It's selfish just bringing back her family. You know, hell, it's the opposite. It's the opposite of Thanos, right? Thanos wants to destroy half the universe. She wants to just bring people back, and it's still.
Imagine if they bring Black Widow for an episode.
Oh.
They might. They did say, okay, so I don't know if this was the cameo, but apparently Scarlet Witch or somebody's Elizabeth Olsen or someone said that there is a Luke Skywalker level cameo coming up. And so
they kind of briefly mentioned, like when Darcy, Monica, and Jimmy were talking, they did kind of hint at a specific aerodynamic engineer or something like that, Astro something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people have been speculating that might be either Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman.
See, okay, so my thing with that though is a Luke Skywalker level cameo. Like, no, but so in my opinion, it's got to be someone old school, because that's what. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars, but that Luke Skywalker scene in Mandalorian was awesome.
Oh, no, that was...
Because as a kid who grew up watching the VHSs of the original Star Wars trilogy so many times, all I wanted to see was an older Luke kick ass. And I finally got it. And... What's that?
No, I think we did get that moment already with Quicksilver.
No,
I don't think so.
Oh yeah. So no, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is it the cameo we just saw, or for me, again, thinking outside the box, Tobey Maguire. There's your multiverse.
That would be.
There's your multiverse.
Old school.
There's your original like hero that kind of. I mean, you could say the X-Men really, set this whole superhero movie universe into motion, but at the same time, it was the original Spider-Man trilogy that were mainstream. And
and we're getting a Halloween episode next week. Someone dressed up as Spider-Man takes off their mask.
Oh my, that would
be kind of epic.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So we're gonna have to wait and see. That is crazy. Because hearing that thought makes me think like, who could it be?
Or you get like Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen.
So,
like, if you want to go that kind of like an old person, old school character, there's your two.
Oh, there's so much.
Yeah, no, I just can't wait.
I just can't wait now. That's something too. That makes me a little bit more excited, because just having this Quicksilver cameo was amazing.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's possibly one more.
You know what kills? What kills me though is like when you have, and again, I'm just hoping that this doesn't happen, but you have these moments. Oh my God, yes, Evan Peters sick. This is great. Maybe the X-Men are going to be involved officially. Maybe he's going to be Quicksilver in the MCU. If they just kill him off in the next episode, I swear to God, I will lose it.
Oh,
So here's ready. This is my theory right now. Ready? So there's a couple things that I'll like kind of debunk and things like that. So here's my theory: the Evan Peters of the one we're watching right now, people have been speculating that since that is the closest quote Quicksilver, that she probably pulled him from the other multiverse. That's what a lot of people are saying. But what I think is happening is that was just an individual that was in the town that we just haven't really got to see, because there's still a lot of people in the town that are there apparently.
Yeah, okay, but I'm just saying, if they do that where he's just a guy from the town and she made him look like him, such a cop out. And I'll
be done with the show. I'll be done with the show.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they do that.
So
because I'm sorry, Disney, like, I trust Kevin Feige, but sorry, when Disney, hey, Luke Skywalker is back in the movies, and they just totally disregarded his character, totally changed him. I was like, come on.
So
why did you do that?
So that's why I'm saying, like, this weird pulling him from another place. I think it worked because they gave us that weird thing where she did something to her bubble, her universe, her pocket universe, that because she's losing control of it. And here's the thing that I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned is like Agnes. You guys haven't really, like, she's been really weird and stuff like that. And she, like, a lot of people are speculating that she's Agatha. Like, how did Wanda get there and things like that? Like, people are saying like probably Doctor Strange couldn't have like officially helped her, so she sent her to another like wizard or witch, and Agatha is a witch herself, and so she went to go train in Westview with her to get a little bit more understanding of her powers, and then something happened. There's no 100%. Yeah. We probably won't know until like the finale what officially happened. But I know that because a lot of people are speculating that it's like Mephisto and stuff like that. But I've been watching a lot of people stating that there's one video in particular that kind of gives me a real note that it's probably not going to be Mephisto, and we probably won't get a character like him because of Disney and the Chinese market, because of the way they censor stuff over there. Like, they don't like having like weird ghosts, demonic stuff like that. And Mephisto is literally the representation of the devil.
Oh, okay.
So we won't get a Mephisto.
I think it would also be too much of a cop out in terms of the world they've built so far, because even Dormammu, right?
I don't think so, because we have Dormammu.
But
yeah, I think he means that like, oh no, it wasn't Wanda the whole time. It was Mephisto.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. If it was like, this is how I would want Mephisto. Like, it would have been Agnes who, because they mentioned that she got married to her husband back in June 2nd. June 2nd, if you look back a little bit historically, was around the same time the Salem witch trials were happening. And she could have been put up on the stake, sold her soul to Mephisto for eternal life or eternal youth.
No, I just mean, like, yeah, we had Dormammu, but Dormammu, they almost made him more space in nature. Like, they didn't necessarily say that he was, I mean, yeah, he's like a mystical being, but he was almost more, they didn't make him solely magic, I guess, in person, or even demonic. It was more just, I don't know. It's a different feel than if you actually just have a flat out devil or demon. Right now the MCU has been based in space or time or like universe or whatever, or like I don't know. I just feel like if they made it about Mephisto, it would kind of change. I'm not saying they won't allude to him, But I feel like if they made it that he's pulling the strings or that he's doing a lot of it, it would lose kind of what they're going for in making Wanda, an antagonist for a bit. I don't know.
But we won't get it. That's a sad part. It's kind of the like I said, we're not gonna get Mephisto, as long as the Disney wants to please the Chinese market.
We might get a variation of him. He might just not be the devil.
It's kind of hard. But so what I'm thinking is gonna end up happening is like it has to be something with Agnes for sure. Because that also
Agnes has something to do with it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's that weird mailman. It's just been giving me weird vibes. Like
he just said hi. He just
said
hi.
No. There was that scene in episode 5 where she said to Wanda and the kid, like, as long as your mom
allows it,
nothing's gonna happen or something like that. I know I'm like,
but I think it's he's just aware. Just like the neighbor, they are aware that something is wrong. So, and they know that Wanda is the center of it. So I don't think it's him per se, actually with any sort of mysterious
abilities. I think it was one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, no, she's kind of losing control.
But even intent, like I don't think he has any sort of plan or anything like that. He's just another guy in the town who is starting to piece it together that it's Wanda that's forcing them to behave in a certain way or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't know. For some reason, I had an idea, but it would have to. It's really breaking how the storytelling of the MCU would be. Like we kind of all agree that Vision and probably the kids are gonna be poofed at the end of the thing.
It's possible.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that like the moment that happens and her like bubble like either pops or fades away, I think it's gonna be more of a pop.
I think it's gonna be more. Oh, do you mean like it's just gonna? Okay, no, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Because like remember earlier in the episode 3, Darcy even mentioned it was like cosmic like radiation, right?
Yeah.
So how do I say this?
I'm wondering if you're thinking this, because in my opinion, she's gonna like disintegrate the bubble, right? She's gonna make it like pop, as you say, but the energy itself is gonna expand throughout the whole world, and that's what's gonna create mutants, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. I was having the same idea where I feel like it's gonna kind of be like an explosion where it's like her universe where, like how you mentioned, where she pulled Quicksilver from another universe, and she kind of intertwined universes in her little bubble. That the bubble is gonna explode, and that energy and fractured universe is gonna spread through the whole world. I feel that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then are we gonna get Secret Wars soon?
Secret Wars.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Or you might get like what, Avengers versus the X-Men or something. Who knows?
Oh my god.
We need
there's so much. We need 4 more episodes. God. I gotta wait a month.
They have confirmed recently that Deadpool 3 is going to take place in the MCU.
Yes.
They confirmed, like Kevin Feige or Ryan Reynolds or one of them confirmed it. And it's going to be rated R.
Deadpool shows up.
Could you imagine? That's how they stop Wanda?
No, here's the thing. Deadpool's just going to be in the background, just waving. Like, holy shit, there he is.
Oh, that would be...
He's just gonna just wave, or he's just gonna clap. Like,
he was the studio audience the whole time.
He was the studio audience the entire time.
It was actually it was him, but actually all the X-Men. And they pulled Evan Peters from the audience.
Oh shit.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot. We had a that was a fun talk. We've been talking for a good chunk of time, but I think we can all probably go back and forth with a lot of theories and a lot of crazy stuff. And But we do still have 4 more episodes and a lot more to ponder. But Josh, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your very busy week to join us for this discussion. And
Go check out the podcast. It's GingerCast.
GingerFlix.
GingerFlix.
Yeah. Mix them up, but yeah, go check them out.
So, like I said, yeah, go check out GingerFlix. They're a wonderful like movie review podcast. If you want to get to know them outside of that, we've interviewed them on the Convoluted podcast multiple times. So yeah, and they might be coming on to future projects that we are working on.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
So, but yeah, Josh, thank you for taking the time to come join us.
Thanks for having me on. This was awesome. A lot of fun. I love talking geek, and it's great.
And I'm extremely looking forward to our like final extended discussion for the season finale.
You know it's gonna be like someone's gonna be hurt. One of us is gonna be right, or maybe we'll all be wrong. And we're like, we all suck. We all had no idea what was going on. But,
one of us is gonna be mad. One of us is gonna be mad.
Yeah, so that one's probably gonna be a longer episode discussion and everything like that. So everyone, I'll have links to GingerFlix and everything. Is there anything else you want to promote, Josh, for you individually?
Not really. I mean, if you want to follow my social, I'm on Instagram at it's Mr. Josh Dance, but it's Mr.Josh.dance. And I'm on TikTok doing dumb stuff, some dance videos, some impressions, Mr.Josh.dance.geek, because I had to add that for that one. But yeah, I mean, I don't have much else. I'm just busy teaching, trying to get through everything like everybody else.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you again. So everyone, thank you for listening this far along. We'll get to you next time. See ya.